we're going to go directly over to Adrienne Sims from the San Francisco Firefighters Local 798. Adrienne.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you for having me. I am going to kind of do this off the cuff, and I don't have a lot of statistical information, but I'm going to speak from my own personal experience of being somebody who maybe as a young person had the opportunity to buy a home in the city and was not educated through my family that I should purchase a home or that was even something that was available to me. And in that, if I had bought a house when I first got into the fire department, especially in some of the neighborhoods that I grew up in, like D10 and D11, I could have bought a house for $200,000. Now those houses are way over $1 million. And I think that some of that even goes into education of what is actually considered affordable. We have a lot of below market rate housing right now that is vacant, because even though you qualify, you can't afford the HOAs that are available, and so you can't even qualify for those. So myself, I make a decent living, but I could not afford to live in San Francisco anymore. So I moved 4 blocks outside of the city. My oldest is 24, and the comment that she gave me was, "Mom, it was like you ran a marathon and you quit at the finish line," but it's all that I could afford. So, I'm a diehard San Franciscan, and I am going to eventually try to move back into the city. I'm looking at a lot of the developments that are coming up. But I think that speaking for labor, we make a decent living, but we still can't afford a mortgage of $1.4 million for 900 square feet. And as I'm trying to recruit a lot of the younger people to come back to the city, I think it's important, especially for public safety, to live in or close to the city in case something ever happens. I have a generation of young people that have been raised on MTV Cribs, and they want a pool, and they want a double car garage, and they want a jet tub, and they want all this space. They want 4,000 square feet. It's not going to happen in San Francisco. Or they work on the streets and they say, "Why would I want to live here? Look at what's going on." Safety is a big issue. I work on our offices are on 7th and Mission, and it's not safe. My daughters had to be down there a lot during the pandemic, and it was very eye-opening for an 11 and 13-year-old. So we have a big vacancy in SoMa with condos, but a lot of it is because people don't feel safe. I was recently at an economic conference with Spur, and a lot of what they talked about was there's going to be these great vacancies in these neighborhoods because people don't feel like they want to come back to the city. So it's not affordable for labor. If you're not making, $40 an hour or upwards, you can't afford, a $1.4 million mortgage. And then what you can afford is not necessarily the safest neighborhood. And I think that those are really issues that we need to address. If you have a below market rate housing that somebody qualifies for, maybe we need to look at the HOAs being within their reach also. You can afford the $1,200 a month, but you can't afford the $900 a month HOA fee. I think that we have a lot to work with here. I know that I talk to friends that live farther away, like El Dorado Hills. I don't even know where that is, but it's farther away. And they say price per square foot to fix a home or to build a home is half what it costs in San Francisco. And I have to wonder why. It's not that far away. It's not like they're shipping it through a shipping container and to bring it here. So I think that a lot of it is making neighborhoods that are now have the vacancies more attractive, and how you do that, looking at how you make SoMa attractive. I think SoMa has a 34% vacancy rate, and they're looking at it increasing because the .comer, the young person, doesn't want and doesn't need to live there anymore. They have moved out. And then creating below market rate housing for workers that they can actually afford. I think almost half is vacant, and um, that's there's something wrong with the program if it's not full. If there are people on a list that can't afford the below market units that are open and available, we need to get people in those units with HOAs or without, or a sliding scale HOA that people can actually afford. Um, and then again, making everybody wants to live in that special neighborhood, whether it's Noe Valley or the Richmond or Sunset, maybe addressing some of these neighborhoods to make them just as desirable. If we keep, especially for labor, if we keep our people in the city, they spend money in the city, which makes the city more desirable. Nobody wants to spend $100 on an Uber because they came into the city to see a play or to go out to dinner. If you can just walk there, it's just that much better for the city as a whole. Our salaries are based on business taxes. As people move away, they take that money, they come into the city to work, and then they take that money to El Dorado Hills or wherever they live, Richmond, California, Vallejo. They take that money and they spend it there. They're not spending it here in the city. And that's kind of what we want. We want an investment in the city. And my other gripe is just investors that are coming and outbidding a regular person. I'm a single mom, I have a single income. I don't have $2 million that I can close in a house in 10 days. So even if I could afford the mortgage, I got outbid because I didn't have an all cash offer. Something has to happen. And I don't know if that's legislation that we say, hey, you know what, everybody has a 30-day close, because that way a real person can compete with an investment company that's, got a 10-day all cash.
I was about to jump in and say thank you so much. Your time is up, but
Thank you.
really, really appreciate you being here. I understand you may have to leave, and thank you, Adrienne. Really appreciate what you had to say.